This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. A WCW show, and SmackDown was going to be a WWF show. There's several different versions of concepts that you guys kicked around, including a late night show, et cetera, et cetera. But do you remember there ever being a discussion, hey, maybe we'll make the Monday show the WCW brand?
Well, I'm sure I would assume all options are being explored.
Right.
Long discussions about Monday Night Raw becoming a non-WWE brand show. I don't recall that, but it certainly could have happened because, like I said, everything was on the table. We're cleaning the slates. We're going to start over. How could we make all this work? And we could have supported a WCW show again, Conrad, if we had the players. We didn't have the players to run the offense that we wanted to run, and we weren't going to get them. So it wasn't a matter where Vince should open his checkbook and shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's easy to Monday morning quarterback these things, but consequently, I think that everything was on the table. But it still comes back to the same thing, man. And I sound redundant, and I apologize, but we didn't have Goldberg, and we didn't have Hall and Nash, and we didn't have Hogan. There's a lot of we didn't have a lot of elements that we needed to make this thing really an impressive brand. So, but I was happy that the show did well, and it gave everybody some hope. I think that, maybe there's life, and especially for the talent, they saw they could participate in a successful event, and it may give them that second chance, that second life. And so that's kind of where we were on that deal. I've thought about this show and the invasion situation many, many times. What if, but God Almighty, you can drive yourself crazy on the what if shit. So anyhow, but it was a fun experience. It was a very hectic time for me personally, because trying to blend two rosters together, and you find out there's little rivalries, and the WCW loyalty still existed, and all those things, and so it was just it was ill-fated, but we got that one good pay-per-view out of it. I thought, that I was under the hope that we would do more than that one. I thought we should, because it had a concept, it worked. And so, and the show was pretty good, but Vince didn't want to do a second show. So that's his call.
So let's talk a little bit about King of the Ring. We're coming off of that show where we had, I get it, it's a wrestling podcast, but he's saving us money on our mortgage. Do you really trust this process? The reviews don't lie. 5-star review after 5-star review. We make it fast, we make it easy, and it's no cost or obligation. Give us a shot to earn your business. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did, especially if you like keeping more of your own money. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket. So what are you waiting for? Hurry to SaveWithConrad.com. It makes the observer that a lot of the WWF guys are resenting the WCW guys because they've been on the payroll since the end of March. And here we are now in July, and they're just now starting on the road. And of course, the WWF guys, man, they're burning the candle at both ends. They're on a real grind. And supposedly, quote unquote, there is a feeling that some of the WCW guys walk around the locker room really cocky. The biggest heat was on Booker, Stacy Keibler, Bagwell, Palumbo, and O'Hare. Jim, you're running talent relations. Are you hearing from WWF folks that?
Yeah, and I had the same answer to all of them. Are you getting paid? Yes. Did you come here to work? Yes. Are you worried about the competition, that somebody may come in and outperform you and take your spot? Yes. They didn't want to say yes to that one, because that would be less macho, less alpha male-ish, or alpha female-ish, whatever it may be. So, yeah, I had plenty of conversations about that. And the other side of that was, look, if working here now under these circumstances is unattainable to you, then let's get you someplace where you can be happy. In other words, I'll release your ass. I just got to go through the old man. He's not going to want you here if you don't want to be here. So that's kind of why I looked at it, Conrad. You're getting paid your fair wage, and you're being used a lot. You're on television a lot. You got a chance to get over. You don't have the Austin Rock competition at that moment. you got chances to get some spotlight shined on you. So, but I didn't have a lot of sympathy for that. Well, they've been getting paid since March. What the fuck do you care?
Exactly.
What do you care when they're getting paid? So I was a little hard ass in that area because, a lot of them will tell you when you hire them, oh, this is my dream job. I never wanted anything more in my professional life than to work in WWE. Well, great. Well, here you are. Here's your jersey. Now go play. And that's kind of how I looked at the situation. That other stuff was just professional jealousy and insecurity.
I do want to talk about something you and I have, I believe, the heels of that Buff Bagwell Booker T match. Vince McMahon changes everything.
Yeah.
But at this point, man, you were so heavily invested. You had been meeting with talent. I mean, you set up shop there in Atlanta for a while, just trying to get your arms around it, as we like to say.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's like, nope, moving on. How frustrating was this that Vince was seemingly throwing the baby out with the bathwater?
Well, I was very frustrated. But you learn, I learned this as a kid, there was one boss in my household.
Yeah.
The old man. And I learned, I was raised by a very strong, opinionated alpha male. So I kind of got indoctrinated to that style, that management style, if you want to say, at an early age. There was nothing, I figured out somewhere along the way in wrestling, probably extended my career, that don't get too wrapped up on things you can't control. It's just senseless. And so you just have to cut ties with it all. But I set up shop at a Ritz-Carlton hotel, actually, in Atlanta, down in Buckhead. And Jan was with me. I remember that very vividly. I remember taking, my God, Mr. Barnett to dinner. We had a great dinner. It's like going out with two ladies, in all due respect to Jimsy. And of course, he was giving me advice on this guy and that guy. And, Barnett was a big proponent of the newsletters and things of that nature. So he had opinions on everybody. So we went to dinner for the sake of having a good meal and having some fellowship, so to speak, not to talk a lot about wrestling. But my meetings there were to find out, do you want to work?
Right.
And, there are talents there that, Vince didn't have a high, it's like saying Dave Finley, well, he'll be a good agent or coach or producer, whatever the hell you want to call him today. And I'm thinking, well, he would be good at all those areas, but he's also got plenty of fuel left in the tank to be a hell of a wrestler. And he's a great worker. It can make anybody he was with better. And we needed a lot of that element. But, it's just, you get the rivalry thing about, this is one or two guys if they see that Vince is not overwhelmed with that idea, then you know where they're going. They're going to go right there to what they perceive Vince is thinking, so they don't run again cross the boss. So I stayed in Atlanta for, gosh, we were there, maybe, I don't think we were there a week, but we were probably there 4 or 5 days, and meeting with everybody, had a schedule, and to find out who wanted to work and what you wanted to do, and are you healthy enough to wrestle, or whatever the case may be. So that's where I Laurinaitis, I hooked up with Laurinaitis and hired him to be my assistant. And then we worked through the roster and did the best we could with it under the game plan that was originally set up. But then after that Seattle thing, where was it? Seattle or Tacoma?
Tacoma.
Okay. After that, all bets were off. All that work was for naught. So we still hired some guys, and the ones that we hired that we had great confidence in, like Booker T, panned out and became a Hall of Famer and a millionaire. So that's how that went down. But it was very frustrating for me because I still had to do the payroll. I was still down there doing payroll early in the morning, so the guys that we already hired were getting paid. I had to do the house show bookings. And again, the roster changed daily because of either injuries or unavailabilities. So it was hard. It was probably the toughest time in my career, stress-wise and work-wise, for me personally. But I couldn't do anything about it but do my job and try to make that proverbial chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Well, you're going to try to make chicken salad out of ECW. I'm curious. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.